What personal survival gear do you wear in wartime in Alaska back then?
Yeah, and the I'm not so sure the wartime and the peacetime training gear would be much different. There's two again. You think of Alaska has four seasons basically: June, July, August, and winter. So when it's cold out there, it's cold. 40, 50, 60 below was not unheard of during the dead of winter. And when it was warm, the mosquitoes were out. So, tongue in cheek, you made sure you had some kind of insect repellent with you during the summer. During the winter, you wore everything you could. So we typically flew with a long underwear on, flight suit, winter flight suit, and a heavy jacket. You had in your seat kit, you had all kinds of mittens and socks and headgear, and you hoped whatever you had with you, we would put heavy mittens inside our jackets, so that if we had to punch out and ride the parachute down, we might be able to put those on, so we would even have use of our hands in that cold weather. One of the big things that we ran up against was in Alaska, by FAA regulations, you have to carry a firearm with you. But we didn't have that there at Eielson when we first got up there. So the powers that be authorized us to carry personal weapons. Thinking through, if I ever had to defend myself against a bear or a moose, it didn't make any difference what handgun you had. All you were going to do was piss that thing off, and it was going to come over and rip you apart. So if I needed something out there, I wanted to survive, I was going to have to shoot a squirrel or a rabbit or whatever. So the 22 would be able to take down small game, and I could eat and survive. So that's kind of a tongue in cheek aside to what we carried up there. But you had to be ready for most anything on the ground there. Yeah, when we first got up there, everybody went through a week-long cold weather survival in the dead of winter. So you could go out there and learn how to make an ice cave, a shelter out of pine bough and whatever. Your survival gear is what you have in your pockets, because if we go down, you may or may not be able to get to that backpack before we have to get away from the plane, out of the water, whatever. So that thought process carried over into the A-10 also. So everybody had a personal survival kit that was maybe a 4x8 kind of little thing that you could stick in the leg of your flight suit or whatever, or maybe a couple of them. So a couple of different ways to make a fire, a couple of snares, wire saw, little stuff like that that you could stick in pockets all over the place. So when you walked out to the plane, you kind of looked like the Michelin doughboy walking out there, because you had stuff crammed in every pocket that you could possibly put in there to be able to do that. They would, when you landed, the survival folks would grab you and say, "Okay, I'm going to put you on this helicopter, take you out someplace, put you on the ground, and you got to do your escape and evasion maneuvers and try to get back to friendly territory." Now, they would always send a survival guy with you. But one of the guys that did this, they took him out. It was during the summer. Put him down in one of the target areas that we had and said, "Go." And he dumped everything and took off running. And the survival guys couldn't quite keep up with him. We're going home. He would just welts and red mark. The mosquitoes could get through your flight suit, into your hands, around your neck, on your face, and they would just be merciless of getting through a flight suit. So he had his G suit on. That protected him because it was a little bit heavier, and his jacket protected him. But his hands, his wrist, his face, his neck, and where his knees and the back of his legs weren't protected by that stuff, he was eat up with mosquitoes. So another survival kind of thing that you thought about up there, like I said, was the DEET. So it was a different world trying to survive up there.
If you enjoyed this clip and want more, you can go to 10percenttrue.com, hit subscribe, you get early ad-free access to all my content. Appreciate your support.